Good morning everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I was going to talk to you about wedge tails, why I use them and how I modify them, especially the line through from Savage Gear. Now there's different types of wedge tails. The line through from Savage Gear, which be those ones that everybody is familiar with, two different size. You have different brands. You have some with really big boot tail like this, and you have some a little bit more complicated. They look a little bit more technical, a little bit more over-engineered, but each to their own different applications. Today I want to talk to you about the Savage Gear one, because one of the advantages of the Savage Gear one is that you can reduce the weight that you have inside the harness. Now, why do I bother reducing the weight of a harness? Now, that's the two-part modification that I do to these lures. One, I get rid of the line through, and I'll come to that at the end of the video. I'll explain to you why I don't fish them on line through. And two, most important, is to remove that weight. Again, like many lures that I fish with, I'm not happy. That's why I started making my own lures, because I find that most lures sold in the shops nowadays, they just all sink like bricks. All the ready to fish lures, they don't have that hang time that is so precious to me in fooling big fish and big wary fish. Sometimes fish that don't want to bite, you can induce them to a good solid eat because you have a lure that hangs. It's, to me, something that I always relate with the fly fishing. This is one of the reasons why flies for pike are so deadly. It's because they have that ability to just stay in the strike zone. When you do a pause, even a long pause, that fly is just not going to disappear and sink to the bottom like most lures do. Let's be honest, on a big line through like this, if you stop reeling this thing, it's just not going to stay in the strike zone. It's just going to go straight down to the bottom. Now, sometimes that might get the pike to bite and follow the bait, but sometimes they're just not going to be bothered, especially in places that are kind of heavy pressured. We have more and more of those in some parts where there's boats all the time, and on high season pike have seen all sorts of lures, and so many times they've seen them in front of them, and most of the time they're all being used the same way. Again, going back to the line through, I'll talk to you about that at the end of the video, because the first part of the video I'm going to explain to you how I remove weights. Now, to remove weights is to achieve that hang time that I want to create. Now, it's a lot easier to tune a lure that's kind of a slow sinking. Again, Savage Gear sold these lures as slow sinking, but they're not. To me, they're like super fast sinking. A slow sinking lure is something that'll go at this kind of a rate. This is slow sinking. Another one that I do like to create with those is a slow floating. So when you cast it, the weight goes through the surface of the water, and then it starts rising slowly, very, very slowly, back up to the top of the water. Now, those are really good because it's a lot easier to customize and to change the weight of your lure by adding lures, because taking away a lure when you're on the bank, it's impossible. It's much easier to have a very slow sinking lure, and you can add some clip-on weights. What else? You can add some nail weights as well. I think I have a couple here. But again, I'm just going to show you the nail weights because there's not too many people who use them. And these ones you can really, really fine-tune by pushing them into the soft body at different places on the lure, and you can really fine-tune the way your lure is going to sink. Now, how do I remove the lure, the weight out of those lures, the line through Savage Gear? Well, first you're going to want to start by giving a bit of a massage to your lure. Now, what happens is that there is a kind of a harness inside, a little body inside, and you have the line through system, which is simply a pipe that goes through, and you have the weight that's based at the bottom here. Now, that's only my guess, but I think when they cover the lure with the silicone over the harness, the silicone kind of stick to that harness. There's no glue on it. So all you have to do is give it a nice rub, and you'll start to feel the plastic, the silicone, to come unstuck from the head. Then all you need to do is put a bit of a slit underneath your lure, remove the harness inside. And I usually, for the smaller lures like that, I use a size 6 to a size 8 drill bit, and I make 2 holes at the back of it, being careful not to drill through the pipe of the line through that tube, because then you mess up your whole ringing system. So, but it's fairly clear once you take the thing out where to drill off. Get a good drill bit, because this is not lead, it's some kind of steel inside, cheap steel, that would be my guess, so it's kind of a hard to drill off. Make sure you use all the safety precaution as usual, but usually a couple of holes for me, and that lure straight away will change completely its sink rate. My tip is to have a bucket of water beside you, so you can test how fast your lure is going to sink. You can always drill one hole, check it, and drill a second hole. But to me, like I said, a number 6 to 8 drill bits for that size of a bait. Remove 2 holes here and here, and I'm usually fairly good. I got that really nice slow sink rate. Now, on the bigger lure like that, you can go with a 10 mil, and you can remove a nice chunk of it as well. Once you have the weight removed from the inside of the body with your drill, it's very easy to put the body harness back inside. Now, one thing you have to make certain is that it's nice and flush inside. It has taken its original position back, that it's not bent sideways, that's not deformed, because that's going to affect the action of your lure after. Now, once the body is inside, all you need to do is paint a little bit of super glue inside the body, and it really sticks like really fast super glue on that type of plastic. So be careful not to overdo it. Really a tiny brush of super glue, and you can close everything back and ready to put the new harness on. Going to talk now about the harness and why do I get rid of the line through system. Now, I feel the line through system is a really good system when you troll. And again, coming back to the fly fishing part, you never saw me fly fishing with tube flies. Hated the tube flies. I still hate tube flies for pike. The reason is that you lose so much action by having a wire that goes through the body of your bait or your fly. Basically, you're dragging it from its arse or from the body, like the line through. Now, it's okay if you troll or if you cast all day and just reel back without giving any action to your lure. The fact that you have a hinge at the top of the lure like this, which is like most lures, you get the eye at the top and not a line through, is that any acceleration and movement, you're going to have a really supple and open hinge here, which is going to act on the action of your lure 100% more effective than a line through. Okay, so I use line through when I troll, and I don't enjoy trolling. It's really last resort for me. Now, the way I do it is very easy. I use a little bit of piano wire and I measure it up. I make one loop at the front, get the wire through the body, and then I do another loop with a little split ring. And then as hooks, I really enjoy using those BKK Assist. Now, they're the one with the flat bit at the back. Let's see if I can show it to you in better condition. As you can see, treble is flat on both sides, on both barbs, and then you get one barb up, and then you have that little sticky metal bit underneath that really sticks inside the rubber of the lure. And the advantage of that is that you have a really good hook placement on your bait. Now, I usually fish one hook like this on my baits, especially the small ones like this. This is the smaller size line through with the hard body inside. I usually fish them with just one hook, and I rarely get miss fish. And the reason again is because of that hang time. When I slow down that bait, it's gonna sit here or start slinking very slowly, just with that little movement of a tail behind. And that gives perfect timing for the pike to hit the lure properly. Pike is going to attack that lure really aggressively from the side. I'm going to take it like he means it, and usually take it about here or on the head, and usually the hook is always in the strike zone. A lure that's sinking too fast, that a pike has to chase, or that jerks too quick, that's sometimes when you get the misses. The pike just hits that side and you pull the lure away from him, then he spooks and you never see him again. Now again, with these ones, the advantage is that when you walk it and you leave it on the pose, because that's when you're going to get that bite, just at that pause, or when you're just going to start moving just after that pause, that's when it's going to happen. And usually the pike has that bait really in his eyesight, and it's rare, very rare, that it's going to miss. Now if you get nippers on the tail, it's really easy to add a little stinger to it, but most of the time I rarely have to use a stinger. Even on the bigger bait like this one, they usually go for the kill. Kill means sideways, T-boned. It's basically the first third, the head, where they're going to ensure that the fish is going to get the most injured if he happens to get away from its mouth. But usually they're going to hit it always around here, and the hook is always placed here. So one hook is plenty for me. I usually have very little missed. But again, if you have too many misses, you can add a little stinger really easily on this one. Coming back as well, people think, yeah, but the line through helps for the fish not to unhook themselves, and the lure doesn't get damaged because it flies off, which is completely true. But in all fairness, I've been fishing lures ready to fish and rubbers, and we all have before line through cam, and we didn't suffer major damages to lures. I have some good old bulldogs that are like years old. I've been fixing over and over, welding them back, and they still do fine, and there's no line through in them. So there's no reason why you shouldn't try to change the rigging of this line through, remove some of the weight, and you're going to see you're going to double your catch rate with these boys, especially like I said in kind of a heavy, if you fish a heavy pressure lake or water system, it's going to make the difference. I believe so. Did I forget anything else? I don't think so. That's basically how I like to yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk to you, mostly about the wedge tails. Give you a conclusion on this wedge tail talk. I fished the Savage Gear one with the body inside. By taking the weight, I fish them when the pike are active, because those ones are going to sit just below the surface, or I let it sink just about a meter under the surface. Really exciting way of fishing, because you're always, it's like sight fishing, so it's always good fun to see these lures and walking them, and if you see the pike striking at the back, even a better bonus. Now that's for the one with the harness. So I fished like those summertime, early autumn, late spring, mid-spring to late spring. And then for the winter, I'll include the video up here and in the description below. I use the dead crawl, so usually I go back to the full rubber ones, where I put some nail weights in the belly, and instead of having the hook on the belly, I put the hook right on the top for these lures, and I drag them on the bottom. This is what I call the dead crawl. And again, really a technique that's not used by many, but got me so many fish. Now you can see in that video that I'm going to link here how you get the bites by dead crawling these lures on the bottom. That's about it. That was my talk on wedge tail and how I modify them. Hope you learned something from it. You're going to try. Let me know how you get on. Again, thanks for watching. Click that subscribe button, that like button, comments, all that really helps the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.